Picture this. The year is 1875. You step into a dusty saloon, the air so thick with smoke and sweat, you can almost taste it. The floor crunches under your boots. But it's not dirt. It's sawdust soaked in spit. At the bar, a row of men are knocking back a mystery brew so harsh it could strip paint, and wipe their beards on the same germ-covered towel. Out here in the Wild West, hygiene wasn't just bad. It was downright dangerous. From washing your face in public streams to sharing bathwater with the whole family, and from cocaine toothache drops to Lysol used as birth control. The filth of frontier life hides secrets far more shocking than you've ever seen in a Western movie. And what you're about to hear will make you very, very grateful for modern plumbing. The face wash struggle. Forget luxurious morning routines. In the Wild West, if you wanted to wash your face, you headed to the nearest stream or spring. And you weren't alone. These spots were the town's open-air bathrooms, drinking fountains, and laundry rooms all in one. Women would splash icy water on their faces, trying to rinse away the layer of dust from yesterday, all while strangers stood just a few feet away doing the same. Full baths? Almost unheard of. Hauling and heating enough water took hours, so most folks settled for a quick splash and hoped it was enough to keep clean. It might have been refreshing for a moment, but the dirt and germs always came back fast, and what they used for bathrooms made things much worse. Outrageous bathroom realities. If you think public restrooms are bad today, the Wild West would have you begging for a gas station toilet. Most towns didn't have plumbing, so people relied on outhouses, wooden shacks with a hole in the ground, and a stench so strong it could knock you backward. These weren't just smelly, they were insect hotels. Flies, beetles, and worse swarmed the place, and stepping inside meant holding your breath and hoping you got out alive. Toilet paper? Forget it. Frontier folks grabbed whatever was handy, leaves, corn cobs, even ripped up Sears catalogs. And because these bathrooms were usually placed a good walk from the house, many just held it in for as long as possible. But if the outhouse didn't make you sick, what they used for cleaning might. The Lysol shock today, you probably think of Lysol as a disinfectant for your kitchen counter. But in the early 1900s, it had a far more personal use. Back then, women were sold Lysol as a solution for everything from discomfort to, believe it or not, birth control. The ads promised cleanliness and protection, but left out one tiny detail. It was loaded with harsh, toxic chemicals. Many women had no idea the product they trusted could cause burns, irritation, and long-term health problems. Still, it was marketed as modern science at its best, and in a world with so few options, people believed it. And if you think that's shocking, wait until you hear what was brewing in those saloons. Saloon germ factories. Step inside a Wild West saloon, and you'd be hit with the sound of laughter, clinking glasses, and the unmistakable burn of rot-gut liquor. This wasn't your smooth, barrel-aged whiskey. It was a murky mix of cheap spirits, sometimes cut with tobacco juice or even kerosene to give it a kick. And if the drink didn't make you sick, the bar towels might. Every saloon had one. A grimy rag draped across the counter, meant for wiping up spills and drying beards. But it was never washed. Night after night, the same towel soaked up beer, sweat, and spit, becoming a germ-soaked nightmare. Patrons might have thought they were leaving with a good buzz, but they could have been taking home something much nastier. And hygiene didn't get much better back at home, especially when it came to bath time. Family bathwater tradition. In the Wild West, a hot bath wasn't just rare. It was an event. Water had to be hauled by hand, heated over a fire and poured into a single metal tub. which meant everyone used the same bathwater. First in was usually the father, then the mother, followed by the kids in order of age, oldest to youngest. By the time the baby got their turn, the water looked more like soup than a soak. This ritual usually happened once a week, earning the nickname Saturday Night Bath, so everyone could show up to Sunday service looking halfway presentable. But clean was relative, because when you crawled into bed, you had a whole new set of problems waiting. Bug-infested beds and no showers. Forget soft mattresses and fresh sheets. Most beds in the Wild West were nothing more than sacks stuffed with straw. They sat low to the ground, making them the perfect home for fleas, lice, and bed bugs. Once those critters moved in, there was no getting them out. And as for staying clean, many believed too many baths were actually bad for your health, claiming it opened the pores to disease. Combine that with scarce clean water, and some folks went weeks, even months, without a full wash. Cowboys often wore the same clothes day after day until dirt and sweat turned them into breeding grounds for fungal infections. But questionable hygiene didn't stop with sleeping habits. It extended straight into their so-called medicine cabinet. Dangerous medicine cabinet. In the Wild West, medicine was often as risky as the illness itself. Got a toothache? Your cure might be drops laced with cocaine, numbing the pain while giving you a burst of jittery energy. Syphilis? Doctors prescribed mercury ointment, a treatment so toxic it could rot your teeth, damage your kidneys, and slowly poison you. Clean water was scarce, waste disposal was poor, and diseases like cholera and dysentery spread fast. With no real cures, whiskey often stood in for both medicine and meals, a stiff drink to dull the pain or replace dinner entirely. But some dangers weren't in a bottle. They walked into town right alongside the cowboys. Cowboys smell and germ travel. Cowboys were legends on the frontier, but they weren't exactly known for smelling fresh. Weeks on horseback without a proper wash left both the riders and their horses coated in layers of dust, sweat, and who knows what else. To cope, many wore bandanas, not just for style, but to block the overpowering stench of animals, people, and the open road. These same dusty travelers carried more than just the smell of the trail. Moving from one town to another, they unknowingly spread germs and illnesses across the West, turning each handshake, drink, or shared meal into a potential health hazard. And if you thought the smell was bad, one of their favorite habits made things even worse: tobacco spit. Culture chewing tobacco wasn't just a vice in the Wild West. It was a daily ritual. Cowboys, miners, and townsfolk claimed it kept their mouths from drying out in the dusty air. But the habit came with a filthy side effect: spitting, and they spat everywhere. Saloons were littered with brass spittoons, and floors were covered in sawdust to soak up the mess. Problem was that mix of tobacco juice and sawdust became a germ factory, spreading illnesses like pneumonia and tuberculosis. Some towns had to outlaw public spitting entirely, handing out fines or even jail time for offenders. By the end of the day, it wasn't just the streets that were dirty. It was the people, the buildings, and the very air they breathed. And when you add it all up, the final picture of Wild West hygiene is even grimmer than you think. Conclusion: a dirty truth. The Wild West wasn't just rugged and lawless. It was a place where staying clean was a daily battle, and losing often meant getting sick, or worse. From sharing bathwater to drinking rot-gut whiskey, from mercury ointments to germ-soaked saloons, life on the frontier was a gamble with your health every single day. It's easy to romanticize cowboys, saloons, and frontier towns, but behind the dust and adventure was a reality that would make most of us today shudder. Modern plumbing, clean water, and real medicine aren't just conveniences. They're luxuries our ancestors could only dream about. So next time you turn on a hot shower or toss your sheets in the wash, remember, in the Wild West, that simple act could have been the stuff of pure fantasy.